You stayed up until 2 a.m. Not for anything important, just the scroll. YouTube. One more video, one more episode. The phone finally fell on your face, and you gave up. 5 hours later, the alarm went off. You dragged yourself up, had 2 coffees before 9 a.m., felt foggy until lunch, made at least one decision you'd regret, skipped the gym, ate garbage, and told yourself you'd fix it tonight. Then, did it again. Here's the thing. Sleep deprivation isn't just tiredness. It's not just yawning more than usual. What's actually happening in your brain and body during those lost hours is significantly more serious than most people realize. Today, we cover all of it. What sleep actually does, what happens when you don't get it, and why it's quietly degrading almost every other thing you're trying to build. We're going to follow Omar through one sleep-deprived week. Omar is 22, gym, gaming, part-time job, trying to study, chronically underslept. Thinks he's functioning fine. He is not functioning fine.
What sleep actually is. First, sleep is not your body doing nothing. This is the biggest misconception about it. Sleep is a highly active, organized biological process. Your brain doesn't go offline when you close your eyes. It shifts into a different mode and starts running maintenance routines that it literally cannot run while you're awake. Waste removal, memory consolidation, hormone production, tissue repair, immune reinforcement, emotional processing. All of this happens while you sleep. None of it can be fully replaced by caffeine, willpower, or the weekend. The architecture of sleep. Every night, your body cycles through 2 main types of sleep: NREM, non-rapid eye movement, and REM, rapid eye movement. The body cycles through all stages approximately 4 to 6 times each night, averaging 90 minutes for each cycle. The Decision Lab. Let's break down what's actually happening in each stage. Stage 1, light sleep, the transition zone. You're drifting, easy to wake up, lasts just a few minutes. This is when your muscles occasionally twitch and you might feel like you're falling. Completely normal. Stage 2, deeper light sleep. Heart rate slows, body temperature drops, brain waves settle. Stage 2 accounts for about 45% of your total time asleep, the most of any stage. BBC Science Focus. Stage 3, deep sleep. During deep sleep, your brain and body slow down the most. In this restorative stage, your body physically repairs itself, boosting your immune system and supporting your bones, muscles, and tissue. This is the most difficult stage to awaken from. For some people, loud noises over 100 decibels will not lead to an awake state. Positive psychology.
REM sleep. REM has been described as an active brain in a paralyzed body. Your brain races, thinking and dreaming, as your eyes dart back and forth rapidly behind closed lids. This is where memory consolidation, emotional processing, and creative thinking primarily happen. Psychology today. Under normal circumstances, you don't enter REM sleep until you've been asleep for about 90 minutes. As the night goes on, REM stages get longer, especially in the second half of the night. While the first REM stage may last only a few minutes, later stages can last for around an hour. Corporate Finance Institute. This last point matters enormously. If you sleep 5 hours instead of 8, you're not just losing 3 hours of sleep evenly. You're losing most of your REM sleep, which happens disproportionately in the second half of the night. The damage is not proportional. It's front-loaded on the most important stages. Omar's 5-hour nights are gutting his REM. Every single night. How much sleep do you actually need? Let's settle this before the "I only need 6 hours" crowd starts typing. Experts recommend that adults sleep between 7 and 9 hours a night. Adults who sleep less than 7 hours a night may have more health issues than those who sleep 7 or more hours a night. AARP. Most who say they do not need much sleep are not allowing themselves enough time for sleep. They use alarms to wake up and high doses of caffeine or other stimulants to try to function during the day. FDIC. The "I function fine on 5 hours" claim is one of the most consistently disproven things in sleep research. People who are chronically sleep deprived are genuinely poor judges of how impaired they are. The deprivation itself dulls the self-awareness needed to notice the impairment. You don't feel as bad as you actually are. That's part of the problem. According to the NIH, 1 in 3 adults do not regularly get the recommended amount of uninterrupted sleep, LOC. Omar is not special. He's one of 3.
What happens to your brain? Here's where it gets genuinely alarming. Sleep is when your brain runs its waste clearance system. Researchers have found evidence that during sleep, the brain's glymphatic system, essentially a cleaning crew, becomes significantly more active, flushing out metabolic waste products that build up during the day. Researchers believe sleep may promote the removal of waste products from brain cells, something that seems to occur less efficiently when the brain is awake. PubMed Central. Skip sleep, waste accumulates. Brain runs dirtier. Memory. If we sleep too little, we become unable to process what we've learned during the day, and we have more trouble remembering it in the future. PubMed Central. During REM sleep, your brain reviews things you've learned recently, deciding which items to keep in memory and which to delete. Positive psychology. That study session Omar did at midnight, without REM sleep to consolidate it, most of it won't transfer to long-term memory. He essentially studied for nothing. Decision-making. Research suggests that sleep deprivation impairs decision-making ability, with many studies reporting increased risky decisions. A single night of sleep deprivation significantly decreases brain activation related to win and loss outcomes during decision-making. This impact affects both positive and negative emotional responses, altering risk perception. SoFi. In simple terms, sleep-deprived Omar cares less about losing and less about winning. His brain's reward and risk signals are muted. He makes worse decisions and feels more confident about them. Attention and reaction time. There is broad consensus in the research literature that insufficient sleep leads to slowing of response speed and increased variability in performance, particularly for alertness, attention, and vigilance. Put another way, sleep-deprived driving has been compared to drunk driving in terms of reaction time impairment. You would never drive drunk. You routinely drive on 5 hours of sleep. Emotional regulation. With a lack of sleep, an increased amygdala hyperlimbic reaction occurs, resulting in stimuli with negative emotional connotations. This varying level of amygdala activity is linked to a loss of prefrontal lobe inhibition signals. Khan Academy. Translation: your emotional brake, the prefrontal cortex, goes offline. Your emotional accelerator, the amygdala, gets louder. You get more reactive, more irritable, more anxious. Things that wouldn't bother you normally hit harder. Omar snapped at someone yesterday. Thought it was stress. It was sleep. What happens to your body? The brain stuff is bad. The body stuff is worse. Growth hormone. Growth hormone, which promotes tissue repair and muscle growth, is released during deep sleep. Sleep deprivation impairs the release of growth hormone, compromising muscle recovery and adaptation. The free financial advisor. Omar went to the gym. He lifted. He ate protein. And then he slept 5 hours. His body released a blunted pulse of growth hormone during that limited deep sleep window. The adaptation signal was weak. The muscle he's trying to build had a terrible recovery environment. Testosterone. After 1 week of sleeping 5 to 6 hours per night, testosterone levels drop substantially in men. Growth hormone secretion decreases, and insulin resistance becomes more pronounced. Faster capital. This is not minor. Testosterone affects muscle mass, energy, mood, motivation, and libido. A week of bad sleep, and it takes a measurable hit. Not a theoretical hit, a measurable one. Cortisol. Your body's stress response system becomes dysregulated, with cortisol remaining elevated when it should be declining. Faster capital. Cortisol is the stress hormone. It's supposed to spike in the morning to help you wake up, and then decline through the day. Chronic sleep deprivation keeps it elevated in the evening, when it should be low. High evening cortisol is associated with increased fat storage around the abdomen, insulin resistance, and worse sleep quality the following night. So sleep badly, cortisol stays high. You store more fat, sleep worse the next night. The cycle compounds itself. Appetite and weight. Short sleep duration may be associated with an increase in the appetite-stimulating hormone ghrelin and a decrease in the satiety hormone leptin, leading to increased food intake. Day trading. Omar woke up after 5 hours, skipped breakfast, crashed by 11 a.m., and ate an entire bag of something in front of the fridge. His hunger hormones were genuinely dysregulated. His body wasn't lying. It was signaling real hunger, partly driven by bad sleep. Immune system. When people don't get enough sleep, symptoms of depression, seizures, high blood pressure, and migraines worsen. Immunity is compromised, increasing the likelihood of illness and infection. PubMed Central. The person in your friend group who gets sick every time there's a cold going around is often just the one sleeping the least. Coincidence? Rarely.
The gym problem. Omar cares about gains, so let's talk about what sleep deprivation specifically does to training. A 2010 study in the Annals of Internal Medicine compared two groups on identical calorie-restricted diets. The group sleeping 8.5 hours per night lost primarily fat, while the group limited to 5.5 hours lost 60% more muscle mass and 55% less fat. Same diet, same calorie deficit, radically different results based on sleep. The motley fool. Read that again. Same food, same deficit, more muscle lost, less fat lost, just from cutting sleep. A 2021 study found that a single night of total sleep deprivation reduced muscle protein synthesis by 18% in healthy young adults. The same study measured a 24% drop in testosterone and a 21% increase in cortisol after one sleepless night. The motley fool. Omar is training consistently. He's also chronically underslept. He is working against himself in the gym and doesn't know it. His body is in a catabolic environment, breaking down rather than building up for large parts of the week. Sleep is not optional for gains. Sleep is part of training.
The caffeine trap. Omar drinks 2 coffees before 10 a.m., sometimes 3. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is a chemical that builds up while you're awake and makes you feel sleepy. It's essentially your brain's way of keeping track of how long you've been awake and makes you feel sleepy. It's essentially your brain's way of keeping track of how long you've been awake. Caffeine doesn't clear the adenosine. It just blocks you from feeling it. The moment the caffeine wears off, the adenosine floods back. The crash isn't withdrawal from caffeine. It's the sleep pressure your brain had been holding in queue, all at once. And caffeine has a half-life of roughly 5 to 7 hours in most people. A coffee at 2 p.m. means half of it is still active in your system at 7 to 9 p.m. It's making it harder to fall asleep that night, creating more sleep debt the next day, requiring more caffeine, and the cycle continues. Caffeine is a performance loan. Eventually, you pay it back.
Social jet lag, the weekend sleep binge. Omar sleeps at 2 a.m. on weekdays and tries to compensate by sleeping until noon on weekends. This has a name: social jet lag. It's the mismatch between your body's natural circadian rhythm, your internal clock, and the schedule you actually keep. Every time you dramatically shift your sleep window, it's similar to flying across time zones. Your body has to resynchronize. And while you're resynchronizing, you're performing below your biological best. Sleeping in on weekends also doesn't fully repay sleep debt. Better sleep habits that can improve your sleep include going to bed and getting up at the same time every day. Modern treasury. Consistency of schedule, same bedtime and wake time every day, including weekends, is one of the most well-supported interventions for sleep quality. Not a complicated supplement. Not an expensive device, a consistent schedule. Omar's body never knows what time it is. It can't optimize for anything.
Why your phone is the enemy. The phone. Screen light
Particularly blue wavelength light suppresses melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to sleep. It rises naturally as it gets darker outside. Phone use in the hour or two before bed delays that signal. So at midnight, Omar is scrolling, his melatonin is suppressed, he's not biologically ready to sleep. He stays up later, sets his alarm for the same time, sleeps fewer hours, and the deficit compounds. The content on the phone makes it worse. Social media and YouTube are engineered to be stimulating, to keep you in a mild state of emotional arousal. Arousal is the opposite of what your nervous system needs to transition into sleep. The phone isn't just keeping you awake, it's actively working against your biology.
The actual fix. Not going to give you 27 tips. Here are the ones that have genuine scientific backing. Consistent sleep and wake times. Same time every day. This single habit does more for sleep quality than almost anything else. Your circadian rhythm is a biological clock. It runs better on a schedule. Cut caffeine after 1 or 2 p.m. Given caffeine's half-life of 5 to 7 hours, this significantly reduces its interference with falling asleep at night. Phone down 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Turning off electronic devices at least 30 minutes before bedtime is one of the CDC recommended habits for improving sleep. If you can make it an hour, even better. Modern treasury. Keep your room cool and dark. Your body temperature drops as you fall asleep. A cooler room assists that process. Darkness supports melatonin. Minimizing potential disruptions from light and sound while optimizing your bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit supports better sleep quality. FDIC. Alcohol doesn't help you sleep. It knocks you out, but it fragments your sleep architecture and suppresses REM. You might fall asleep faster and wake up feeling worse. The sedation is not the same as sleep quality. Don't try to catch up on weekends. Build the 7 to 9 hours into your actual daily schedule. Budget it like you budget training or studying. It is not less important.
Omar at the end of the week. By Friday, Omar is running on a cumulative sleep deficit that's been building since Monday. His testosterone is lower than it was Monday. His cortisol is elevated. His muscle protein synthesis has been suppressed. His decision-making is impaired. He's more emotionally reactive. He's hungrier than usual, and his body composition is trending in the wrong direction, despite the gym. He thinks the problem is motivation. It isn't motivation. It's sleep. Sleep is not your body doing nothing. It's running critical maintenance that cannot happen while you're awake. Your sleep cycles through NREM and REM stages in roughly 90-minute cycles, 4 to 6 times a night. Deep sleep is when physical repair happens, growth hormone release, immune reinforcement, tissue recovery. REM sleep is when memory consolidation, emotional processing, and learning happen. Cutting sleep to 5 hours guts your REM, which happens mostly in the second half of the night. Experts recommend adults sleep between 7 and 9 hours a night, AARP. Sleep deprivation impairs decision-making, attention, reaction time, and emotional regulation. A week of short sleep measurably lowers testosterone and raises cortisol. Hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin, are disrupted by poor sleep, increasing appetite. Same diet, same training, less sleep means more muscle lost, less fat lost. Caffeine blocks sleep pressure, but doesn't clear it. The debt comes back. Social jet lag from inconsistent schedules degrades performance all week. The fix is boring. Consistent schedule, caffeine cutoff, phone down, dark cool room, 7 to 9 hours. Every day.
Omar's biggest limiting factor right now isn't discipline. It isn't training program. It isn't diet. It's the 5 hours he's been getting since high school and calling it enough. Sleep is the variable that multiplies everything else. Train hard on 8 hours, you adapt. Train hard on 5 hours, you dig a hole. The gym respects sleep. Your brain respects sleep. Your hormones respect sleep. You should too. If this video made you look at your phone at midnight differently, subscribe, because there are 27 more of these coming and they all hit the same way. And drop a comment. How many hours are you actually getting? No judgment, just data. The comment section is anonymous, and we're all equally bad at this.